Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, and I welcome you to this live. Jenny, how are you? Welcome. I'm glad you made it. I am all over the place with time, I know, but I'll get better, I promise. What's going on? So, man, my beard is growing, huh? PK, what's happening? How are you guys? Welcome. So I got an interesting one for you today. Let's see. Have you ever heard a dumb question? I guess if you know me, I would probably say, what is dumb, right? That's subjective. But let's just flip the channel and say, have you ever asked a dumb question? Then again, I'd probably say, well, dumb is subjective. I wouldn't know what your definition of dumb is, right? So there's always that statement, hey, can I ask a dumb question? You know, and then you ask your question, or you don't, or what have you. But then in the process of asking that question, or in the process of it just coming up with a question, you've drawn the conclusion that it's a dumb question, right? By your own standards. Or is it by your own standard? Is it? Well, the Stoics, Epictetus in particular, says in order for you to grow, you've got to be willing to look clueless and stupid. Epictetus says, in order for you to grow, you have got to be willing to look clueless and stupid, right? So what does that mean? So let me break this down for you, as I like to break this down. So my version, I'll give you my version of, can I ask a dumb question? I'll give you that towards the end. And if I forget, you remind me, okay? Team Money, welcome. My beard is growing. I'm planning on growing this thing, so it's gonna go. So let me ask you a dumb question. Where it really comes from is this. This is how I feel anyway. Where it really comes from is this, that you've drawn the conclusion that somewhere, if you ask that question, people are gonna think that that is an irrelevant question, or it doesn't apply, right? Or you should already know the answer. You should already know the answer. That's a dumb question. You should know the answer already. Somewhere in the back of your mind, that's what you're really thinking. If I ask this question, people are gonna say, that's kind of dumb. You should know this answer already, right? Or you feel like, well, you're not worthy to ask that question. Like even the source is not worthy of the question. Like I'm not even, who am I to ask this question? Like, I don't want to ask this question and get embarrassed in front of like a gazillion people. Now, I'll throw a little plug in here for somebody who stutters. That is probably magnified by a gazillion fold, because the person who stutters would so much more hesitate to ask a question, especially in a crowd, because of the stutter as well. Throw that on top of it, right? So if you feel like your question is out of line, you should already, people are gonna say, oh my goodness, what, you don't know the answer to that question? What? Right? Or all this, right? Well, the other side is, well, I'm not worthy of asking that question, right? Well, if that's really the case, and if the Stoics, if you go with the Stoics that they say, hey, you know what, in order for you to grow, you got to look clueless and stupid, right? So, and I've heard people say it's only what does it say? Is it it's only dumb if you don't ask the question, or only something like that, right? But I have an issue with that too, because if you don't ask a question, then there's no question to be dumb. You know what I mean? So there's no question to like reference to. So anyway, but here's the truth of it. If you don't know the answer, and if you're in a situation, or you're in a place where your question can be answered, and you're really curious about the answer, if you're more curious about the answer than you are about, well, I'm gonna look a little dumb. If you're more curious about that fulfillment, let's call it, right? You answering that question and you moving on to the next. If you're more interested in that, then it doesn't really allow for you to kind of feel dumb in that crowd, right? You're just asking your question, you want to get your answer, and you want to move on, right? So it's part of that growth. If you look clueless, meaning what? Meaning you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, right? You look clueless. In some areas, you would look clueless. I'm going to give you some examples. You can throw me some sports all day long. Some of you may hate me for this. Baseball, like football, American football. Like I literally don't know how those two games are played, like at all. At all. Like you can throw me stuff all day and I'll be clueless. I'll literally have no idea what you're talking about. Literally. Like none. All I know, there's a home run and a touchdown. That's, truthfully, that's all I know about those two, right? So I'll be clueless. I'll be stupid. If I'm in a crowd where everybody's talking football and baseball, I'm not going to be an expert. I'm going to look clueless. I'm going to look stupid. And I'm going to be totally okay with that. Well, because it's not my area. Not my interest either. Right? So it's part of that growth. If you're more curious about, you know what, I really like to know this answer. I really would. I'd really like to find out more about this. I could care less what people think or how they judge, right? I just want to know my answer. And this person, this circumstance, this situation will give me my answer if I ask, right? The next time you go to ask a question and you feel like that's a dumb question, you'll feel like it's a little less dumb because you already have one behind you. So every question that you may think is dumb is going to get less dumb as you ask your questions. And eventually you're going to say, oh my God, I got to ask my question. I would be dumb not to ask my question. Right? Now, here's the thing. In a crowd where people are judgmental and laugh at you and point the finger at you, there is at least one more person who has the same question as you do and is not asking. So you would be doing a disservice to that person because your question or the answer to your question could be something somebody else has been looking for, right? So it's part of not only your growth, but it could really play a part in so many other people's growth. You don't know that, right? You don't know that. Yeah, some people are going to say it's dumb. Okay. They'll just float in that whole area they're in, right? So there really no dumb questions. I don't even know what that means, because dumb is such a subjective word. Some dumb people are pretty darn smart. I mean, just tell you. Some people that we think they're dumb, they prove to us they ain't so dumb. You know what I mean? You'll be like, whoa, I thought you were dumb, but you ain't dumb, right? So they'll surprise you. And keep in mind, this whole principle that I'm sharing with you, you got to be able to flip the switch on yourself, right? When other people are asking questions, you don't be the person that judges and ridicules and points the finger. You be one of those that would be curious in their question and also the answer to their question. It's got to be both ways. You can't just be part of the crowd and not the audience, right? So I mentioned I'm going to share with you my version of Can I Ask a Dumb Question? Some of you have actually received this, by the way. Some of you have may have. I may have thrown this at you, or you may have seen this in a group text or a team chat or what have you, if you're in my team. So my version of Can I Ask a Dumb Question is I ask my question, right? I just ask a question, and then I hashtag my question with asking for a friend. So I don't look dumb, you see? That's awesome. I always say asking for a friend. And if it's a person that is not familiar with that line, right, they're gonna say, they'll turn around and say, oh, who's your friend? You see, they'll just ask me that. I get that all the time. Oh, who's the friend that you're asking for? And then I'll explain myself, and we get a laugh out of it. So that's kind of my version of that. So hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration. You like that one? I figured you'd like that one. Asking for a friend. I always get that. Like, I've never had one person say, who's the friend? Like, I never thought I would get that. People say, well, who's the friend you're asking for? You know? So absolutely. And a clarifying question is a good question. So hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys. Drop your thoughts, your comments, your feedback. Let me know, hey, are you using asking for a friend hashtag? And if you do, come on, you gotta tell me. You gotta share your response. You gotta come back and tell us, hey, I used it and this is what happened. So I appreciate you guys. If you feel like this was worthy of sharing, do what you gotta do. Spread the love. And I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.